Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cosmic Owl Astrology. I am Louise Edington, the Cosmic Owl, and I'm here today to talk to you about the week ahead beginning November the 24th. But before I dive in, I want to welcome all the new subscribers. My channel's kind of blown up a little bit thanks to doing the videos with Kathy and Andy on Fridays. And Cassie Beale is professional Aquarian, by the way. She's also on YouTube. Andy is not on YouTube, but Andrew Brewer, you can find him on Facebook. Also, I want to thank another channel that gave us a shout out and sent a lot of you our way. And it's Rosie and Karina are doing psychic news or psychic, well, I can't remember what they call it, but either way, it doesn't really matter. And Rosie's channel is called Rosie Insights, Rosie Insights. I will tag both Professional Aquarian and Rosie Insights below. But I really want to welcome all you new subscribers, and I hope you'll stay around. Uh, Kathy and Andy and I do intend continuing to do the videos. We also, well, Andy's a professional psychic. Kathy's very psychic. I'm very intuitive too. So we also bring in that quantum kind of energy into our astrology of kind of tuning into the energies rather than just going by book delineations. And if that's not for you, that's okay. But that's what's happening. And we are trying to look at the bigger picture here and seeing what's happening in the world as archetypal rather than about the individuals. So please let go of, the idea that we all think that, Donald all bad, evil, and Biden all good. That I think, well, we probably think one is a better person than the other one, but everybody is human. Part of the journey we're collectively on right now is acknowledging and accepting our humanness and our shadow as well as our light selves. And not there's so much going on at the moment. But anyway, it's an interesting week ahead. It leads to next week, which is a huge week. So there's a playlist for these weekly forecasts. So please, you can follow the playlist as well if you like, or just subscribe, check the little bell to get notified when I upload new videos. I also write daily on Substack for paid subscribers, and the podcast is available over there as well. There's a link to that below, and some of them go out for free. I will get back to the weekly written posts when this crazy chaos is over. So we start the week, and stay around for the cards. They're amazing. So we start the week. I'm going to share my chart again. Pluto has entered the building, moved into Aquarius after being in Capricorn for 16 years. And so here we have Pluto still at the 0 degree, where he will stay till December the 29th. So he's going to be at that degree for over a month, right? And so you can see I use some asteroids and things on these week ahead forecasts. I will mention one or two lunar aspects, but I save that real detail for my written daily posts, or these would be really long. So I look at the major transits for the week ahead, the major themes. But I do want to mention that and Rosie Insights, they're onto a lot of this, and I'd also seen some of this as well. Aquarius is very much about kind of internet connections, communications in a bigger kind of scale than Mercury. And they've been tuning into psychically the cutting of undersea cables, which it's evident have been done by the Russians. They've also been looking into connections between Elmo Musk, or Leon as they call him, and Putin, and we'll look at some of the astrology of that. But I look at a lot of things, and I'm listening to a book called Autocracy Inc. as well by Anna Applebaum, and various other things. And it's evident that really this interference in the West, because involves Brexit as well, began with Putin's rise to power, which really began in 97, which was the year that a book called The Foundations of Geopolitics by Alexander Dugin was published. Now, this book, you don't have to go and read the book. You can read a synopsis. There's plenty online. It really kind of lays out what Russia, or rather Putin, has been doing since 1997, including the annexation of Crimea, including interfering in Europe so that Brexit happened. His role is basically to break down the West, or democracy, whatever you want to call it, and recreate a Russian empire in many ways. So, there's multi-prongs to it, so much going on. They're all kind of using each other, all of these people. But also Aquarius is very much about technology, and there's a lot there to do with the PayPal mafia, as they call it, or the tech bros that are colluding. Peter Thiel's behind JD Vance. We see what Elon Musk is doing. There's so much going on. Rosie and Karina really kind of look into a lot of the detail of the news that I don't really always have time to. But we're looking at the bigger picture. I do still think things are going to turn around. Please don't call me the Blue Mafia or Blue Anon, because, myself, many astrologers and many psychics and intuitives know that something's off. Now, we're not saying it's kind of election fraud as you know it. It's probably multiple things. So, and I don't know which is the evidence, but I did just see an article which is interesting, and then I promise I'll dive into the week, saying that the FBI and DHS leaders won't testify publicly about national security threats behind the Senate. This tells me that we were right last week, Andy, Kathy and I, when we said there's a lot going on that we're not seeing. And then I've just got a message that Matt Gaetz is out. All the kind of corruption and rot, if you like, is going to be outed in so many ways. So watch this space. News is happening at a big trot, and this is going to continue. So anyway, on with the week. We start the week with we're in the waning moon. We've just had the last quarter moon as we go into Sunday, the 24th, all times Eastern. You can adjust for your time zones, but the aspects are happening everywhere in the world at the same time, just at different time zones, if that makes sense. Anyway, so we're in the waning moon, really heading towards the balsamic moon this week. The shedding, the releasing, going into the dark, but this often also reveals more things. Okay, so that's how we start the week. Now, I said I don't always look at lunar aspects on these things, but I do think it's worth mentioning that towards the end of the 24th, the Virgo moon moves up to the 24th and 25th degrees and trines Uranus and trines Ceres, so making an Earth grand trine. Ceres is still out of bounds with, that reminds me, I did want to mention that before we dive in, what we've got out of bounds this week, because this is why people keep going, the norms are all being broken in so many ways. Okay, so yeah, on this week, by the way, the moon has gone out of bounds again. It will go out of bounds at the end of the week. So, but Venus is still out of bounds until December the 3rd. So all week. Mercury goes back in bounds on November the 30th. So that ends this week. And Ceres is out of bounds until January the 13th. Now, all of these affect a certain president-elect, so-called. Right now, they affect his chart because they go back in bounds on major parts of his chart. I'm not going to say everything else, but anyway, so we have this Earth grand trine once the moon gets to trine Ceres and trine Uranus, but it's also going to square, and where is she? Oh, I think I took her off. One of my favorite asteroids, which is asteroid Lilith, when she is at 25 Sagittarius. I call her the talk to the hand Lilith. She's the only physical asteroid. So whilst I would not look at this usually, I'm adding her in. I'm going to tell you that because all of these things are speaking to each other and Mercury's about to station retrograde, the Virgo moon is kind of analyzing and looking at all the detail of what's coming out. Uranus is making a big break, radical breakthroughs. Ceres is way out of bounds still, though she's not as far out of bounds as she was. So really, we're kind of looking at all these things that are emerging to light. And meanwhile, at the same time, asteroid Lilith, the energy of the feminine, is saying, talk to the hand, we are not doing this anymore. So things are not going to end up as it appears right now. I keep saying that. For you, for your personal life, you will feel this more if you have energies in the last decan of Sagittarius, but also of Earth signs. Okay, so you'll be affected. So no matter what happens, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of out of bounds behavior, a lot of kind of it feels like rules are being broken, like the bomb cyclone that hit the West Coast. It was predicted to hit like further south than it did. My daughters both live in Seattle. They got hit and have some damage and still have no power. So this was a very unusually powerful storm for Seattle as well. Climate change, but anyway, it's all connected. So anyway, on to there's no major aspects on the 24th. Oh, I do want to mention one thing though. Again, thing I would not normally mention. Venus is in Capricorn, and we are under that Gemini Venus star point. We're in the waning phase of that star point now, before the Venus retrograde that begins on March the 1st. I'll be running my renowned Venus retrograde class, so watch for that. But I wanted to mention that she is in what's called a quincunx, which is an aspect of adjustment to Uranus North Node, which was exactly conjunct Venus on that Venus star point. So from June the 4th, there's some adjustment being made. Okay, in our perceptions, how we do things, more radical breaks. Okay, so that's a significant aspect that was worth mentioning. Now, the nodes of planets are like the planets on steroids in a way. I've actually interviewed Mark Jones, who wrote an amazing book on the planetary nodes, and I'm interviewing him next week for a free call series that is going out on starting January the 6th. Completely free, not selling the recordings or anything, but you will have to watch them in a certain time. Watch for that registration too. All right, so on to the 25th, Monday. The moon goes into Libra at 6:19 a.m., spending just over 2 days in the sign. And, the Libra moon seeks balance, seeks harmony, all the individual aspects I will go over in my Substack. But this is the day, November the 25th at 9:42 p.m., Mercury stations retrograde at 22 degrees 40. So everything's wonky. We're in the station point as this week begins. Things are going to start turning around. Truths are going to be revealed. Mercury's in this ongoing mutual reception with Jupiter, which is Sagittarius guide, and Mercury is Gemini's guide. And some big truths are going to be revealed, right? Okay, especially with Mercury retrograde and Jupiter also retrograde, has been for a while. watch this space for about 3 weeks. So I'm actually going to throw together quickly. This is also the real energy of mind magic, changing perceptions, changing how you do see things so that you can use the law of abundance in a very healthy way. So I'm actually going to release a short, sharp, really fast, very inexpensive mind magic course based on this amazing book, Mind Magic by Doty. So in community, so that we can really kind of manifest both our personal futures or learn how to, and come together collectively to bring the best outcome for everybody involved. And he says it's he's actually a neuroscientist, which is very Aquarian. He says the neuroscience of manifestation and how it changes everything. Okay, but we're just going to go to his 6-part course at the end and do it very quickly during Mercury retrograde, right? Like I need the time to do it. I just feel we need to come together with all of this because it's an immense time. Okay, so on to the 26th, the moon will be in Libra again all day. And so you can see that the moon is in Libra, activating all these. That's the South Node, Black Moon, Lilith, Vesta, and Hecate, if you don't know. Again, Substack for details on that. The major aspect, though, on the 26th is that the Sagittarius Sun, happy birthday to me, somewhere into Sagittarius on the 21st. I'm a Sagittarius in spades. I've got a big stellium, so I love this month, of course. But for you, Sun in Sagittarius is more optimistic. It's Jupiter guided. It's going to kind of look to the future. Again, also Sagittarius is a truth seeker. Well, on the 26th, the Sun aspects the moon's nodes, where we've been working on that journey for quite some time. Who am I, and who am I in relationships, and how can I take a stand and come from a less playing nice and smoothing over kind of energy? But you can also see that as this happens, this kind of takes us into the 27th, because early on the 27th, also at 5 degrees, right? Well, actually a bit more. The nodes will be aspected at 5 degrees. Nope, 4 degrees 59, actually. But then the following morning, the Sun gets to the 5th degree and aspects Mars. So really all of these are speaking together, with the South Node at the midpoint of the south of the Mars-Sun trine. And this is forming, look at this, a fire grand trine, burning off anything that needs to be burned off. Mars is about to go retrograde at 6 degrees, so is not quite at the station degree, but is going to revisit these things. Like this is like the phoenix, but this is also burning off and revealing the ashes of what needs to be reborn. All right, so this is just a huge kind of week again. This whole time is just so crazily, wildly out of bounds in so many ways. All right, so let me get to, I'm trying not to make this too long, but we're still on the 27th. The moon will move into the sign of Scorpio that evening at 7:20 p.m. Eastern for a couple of days, and it's in the dark of the moon, right, as well. We're heading towards a Sagittarius new moon, but it's still very scorpionic, and, you know, this is the shadows, seeing into the shadows. But right at 2 minutes before midnight Eastern time on the 27th, Venus now squares off to Chiron and says, you know, pushing for healing, pushing for shining that light on the wound that's being revealed everywhere, and do something about it. Okay, Venus is in many ways our earthly desires and creation, and she's very much related to manifestation, as is Jupiter, by the way. So, you know, it really all kind of works together. But anyway, so then on to the 28th. So we're on to the Thursday now. The moon still in Scorpio for a whole day on the 28th. Again, towards the end of the day, Neptune, which is also slowing down to station direct. So we've got all these planets and things grinding to a halt. So, but Mercury is already retrograde, of course. But Neptune sextile Ceres, who is still out of bounds. So things are still erratic, but Neptune is grinding to a halt. And this is parting the clouds. This is even revealing more in the dark of the moon. The stuff that's going to come to light, honestly, you know, some of it's coming to light already. I can't look at every bit of news or tell you about it, so I invite you to really kind of look into the little bits of news and go, oh, you know, that's interesting. That's what Kathy and Andy and I do. We send each other these things and go, whoa, look at this. This is interesting. Anyway, November the 29th. No big aspects at all as the moon finishes up in Scorpio, but is in Scorpio all day. No big aspects. So let's move on to the 30th, which is a big day. The moon will enter Sagittarius at 6:52 a.m. and be there for a couple of days. And of course, we're heading towards the new moon. But on right after pretty much 9:22 a.m., this little figure here, Nessus, stations direct. So we've had Saturn station direct, Nessus station direct. Nessus is the revealer of abuses of power. And Nessus and Saturn and Neptune are all transiting the supposedly president-elect's 7th house of open enemies and politics. And everything he's doing is just almost like trolling whoever he's putting into power or trying to put into power. And the things he's coming out with, it's just out of the bounds of the norm, which, if you remember, I said we've got all these energies out of bounds. Now then, as Nessus stations direct, Mercury goes back in bounds, all right, but that's on his moon and south node in his 4th house, his basis of security. So much is coming out. So, yeah, I'm biased. Yeah, I admit it. But the astrology is also informing me. And what I've said would happen is happening. And I still think that Harris is going to be the next president in whatever way. I have no idea exactly how. Okay, so ending on November the 30th, I will mention that Pallas Athena, asteroid wise justice warrior, cosmic owl, moves into the sign of Capricorn. I'll talk more about that in my Substack, but here she is in the realm of the structures of our society and institutions, and also she is moving forward to bring the rules, the rules back in, kind of thing, the man-made rules, as these planets all move back in bounds. Okay, and then also on no, I'm not going to mention that one. And then 1:21 a.m. I will move quickly into Sunday because then we have the new moon. I did a whole video on the new moon, so you can go and you can look at that. But you know, that's at 9 degrees Sagittarius. There's so much going on there, but look at this as well. This is goddess energy, ideas, perceptions being radically changed. So, you know, we're on the way. And after this new moon, when the moon starts to gain light, next week's forecast is going to be off the charts. It's a big, big week. But this is just going to the news is going to keep being revealed in so many ways. And I can't wait to go and look at the news about Matt Gaetz being out, because he's a nasty person. He, you know, is a child sex trafficker. It's like, you know, all these what's the word? All these accusations have been confessions, really. Not saying that all Democrats are I'm just getting my card picture up. I'm not saying that all Democrats are good and all Republicans are bad. It's different than that. It's higher. It's archetypal. This is more about this MAGA thing coming up, and the autocracy and the takeover of the tech bros and autocrats and so on, versus people who want to maintain democracy, whether it's imperfect or not. I know which I would like. And I think democracy will be saved. But anyway, cards for the week. Ooh. Now then, I've gone and followed my astrologer colleague Frederick Woodruff, who I like his Substack. He's a great astrologer. He's kind of a crusty guy, but you know, meaning he's a little bit, you know, says what he thinks, which I love about him. And I bought the book of Thoth, or Thoth, which is Alec Crowley who created this. This is the Crowley deck. So I only got it yesterday, so I'm still learning from the creator of this. But interestingly, he says this is Babylon card. This is the Leo card, the king, the leader, you know, but it's also, you know, those that Babylon. He just gives, he talks about this in Babylon. He says, beautiful art thou, Babylon, and desirable, for thou hast given thyself to everything that liveth, and thy weakness hath subdued their strength. For in that union thou didst understand, therefore art thou called understanding, O Babylon, lady of the night. This is that which is written, O my God, in one last rapture let me attain to the union of the many. For she is love, and her love is one, and she hath divided the one love into infinite loves. And each love is one and equal to the one, and therefore is she passed from the assembly and the law and the enlightenment unto the anarchy of solitude and darkness. Forever thus must she veil the brilliance of herself. O Babylon, Babylon, thou mighty mother, that ridest upon the crowned beast, let me be drunken upon the wine of thy fornications. Let thy kisses wanton me unto death, that even I, thy cupbearer, may understand. Now through the ruddy glow of the cup I may perceive far above and infinitely great the vision of Babylon, and the beast whereon she rideth is the lord of the city of the pyramids, that I beheld in the 14th ether. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole book. I've still got to go through this book and really go through it over and over and over again. But this card really is lust for life. But I found it interesting that he talked about Babylon in this card, because the Alexander Dugin that wrote the Foundations of Geopolitics, he calls you know, us, the West, who want to give, you know, personal rights and for LGBTQ and marginalized people and so on and so forth. He thinks we're Babylon, and he thinks, you know, we have to kind of control or get rid of these people. So isn't that interesting? But otherwise, I love this card because it's the 11 card, and incidentally 47, which is the number of the next president, you know who I think it will be, is 4 plus 7 is 11. And this is Strength and Lust, using Angeles Arian's book, which means lust for life. So Angeles Arian's quote for this card is, to me, wholeness is the key to aliveness. It's more than just physical vitality, it's radiance coming from being at one with yourself and your experience. Life then flows through you and radiates from you. That's Richard Moss, How Shall I Live? And this really is kind of taming the beast within and embracing life fully in so many ways. You just look at her abandon. She's stripped bare. She's kind of got those, you know, this one actually kind of looks like, one of those Russian Orthodox priests and things. But anyway, to my mind, this is the divine feminine saying, have the courage and to radiate your inner being in every one of you. And so, and step into your heart and your character and strength. It's the Leo card, which is the heart. So it's a beautiful card in many ways. Take from it what is meant for you. So then the next card I got is the Princess of Discs. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is the Master of Creativity and Birth of New Forms. It's the pregnant lady who represents mastery of creative power, feminine. But this is a woman who has been over the volcano and through the briar patch behind. Okay. And she bears new life that has been gestating and incubating within her for some time. She is fertile and abundant with a new identity, lifestyle, project, or human being. Her pioneer nature, or the new beginning nature, is represented by the Aries crown, the horns on the head, the snake on the shoulders, okay, transforms into an ermine cloak, represents her earthy and ancient passion to create. And this card is about giving birth to new forms that are in alignment with who you are, which is the lighted crystal wand, and you are determined to manifest harvest. That's the grains on the pedestal. In a balanced and organic way, the lotus blossom with the yin-yang center. She approaches motherhood issues or issues surrounding her own mother in creative ways. To me, that represents that Earth Grand Trine I pointed out to Ceres and Uranus and things, but I also often got these earthy kind of court cards, as you like, for Harris. So just saying. All right, so let me quickly have a look at the Book of Thoth, the new Book of Thoth, to talk about that. He said this is the earthy part of Earth. This is the brink of transfiguration, and she points out a lot. He points out a lot of the things that's suggested. He said this is a priestess of Demeter, but that's Ceres in the chart. So I just talked about the Earth Grand Trine with Ceres, right? And Demeter is Ceres. And so she bears within her body the secret of the future. So it's the secret of the future. You can see it. She's holding it within, ready for it to be birthed. All right. So we're kind of really getting ready to be birthed. Okay. So the last card is the Mars in Leo card, which is kind of funny because Mars is about to go retrograde in Leo, but it's the Valor card. It's the Seven of Wands, and Valor is courage. And this it's an earthy feminine number as regards the tree of life, and represents a departure from the balance so low down the tree that this implies a loss of confidence. Fortunately, the card is often attributed to Mars in Leo. This is his own interpretation. Leo is still the sun in the full strength, but the marks of decadence are already to be seen. I think it's, again, accusation is a confession. I think we can perhaps see where the real Babylon is now, right? Anyway, but it may be part in you where you've been overly decadent and, and me, putting me first, which can be very Leo as well. So I'm going to say that this is about Mars stationing retrograde as the week ends. and stepping into this more earthy, grounded valor and courage. But Mars itself is gonna be weakened as it stations retrograde, and that's kind of like the patriarchy, the alpha kind of male type weakened with this card. But for you personally, the Seven of Wands, I'm going to Anjali's Arians card again, because these are just such big times. This is just the courage to stay by what you value, not to compromise or settle for less. The central niched wand on this card represents a reminder to trust your experience and knowing, I'm going to say. If you have the courage to stay by what you value, things will unfold like the lotus blossoms here. Renew and regenerate themselves or allow you to move in new directions that you value. That's the ibis or phoenix heads. Okay, so, and you are clearly able to see things more clearly and able to honor your vision and creativity. And that's the eye of Horus, the winged eye of Horus, okay, on the staffs. So, you know, this is, it's got the 7, the energy of 7. And remember I said that the week, 7 days after this week, is a big week where so much is going to change and be revealed. And so I'm going to say that this indicates in the next 7 days, it's important for you to have the courage to stay by what you value. Okay. Especially regarding Leo people or Leo rising people, just saying. Okay, so, well, thank you everybody again. If you're not already a subscriber, this Mercury retrograde is going to play havoc with me, by the way, because it stations retrograde on my sun. But anyway, so some of these glitchy things on Zoom, I don't know if you see them on the recording, but it keeps going really weird. But anyway, if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe, check the bell to get notified when I upload new content. See you next week or next time, or with Kathy and everybody. Bye.